Malik Johnson had always believed that a successful business wasn't just built with money, it was built on respect. As the founder and CEO of MJ's Grill, a once struggling diner-turned-regional chain, Malik had earned everything through hard work, late nights, and relentless belief in people. But recently, something had changed. Customer reviews hinted at disrespectful service. Anonymous emails from loyal patrons mentioned rude staff and a change in atmosphere. Malik wasn't the type to jump to conclusions, but he knew one thing: reputation could crumble much faster than it took to build. So he decided to go undercover. Dressed to disappear on a cool Wednesday afternoon, Malik put on a black knit beanie, swapped his tailored blazer for a faded hoodie and jeans, and walked into one of his busiest downtown locations. No security, no camera crew, just a boss on a quiet mission. The line was long, the kitchen humming. He blended in easily. Another hungry customer. He watched how the staff worked. Some were friendly, some were fast. But it wasn't until he reached the counter that he heard something that made him stop cold. Two young cashiers, not much older than 20, were laughing to each other while one rang up his order. "Why do they always get the extra meat and all the toppings?" the taller one whispered, nodding toward Malik. "And then they act surprised when it esse muy $299, the other added with a smirk. "And don't expect a tip either, just attitude." Malik looked down at his sandwich. Lettuce, tomato, red onions, chipotle, mayo, roast beef, nothing unusual. But that wasn't the point. He wasn't shocked by what they said. He was disappointed by where they said it and how easily a silent walkout he didn't confront them. Not yet. He smiled, took his sandwich, and walked out the front door. Behind him, laughter continued, careless, comfortable as he sat in his car. He couldn't even take a bite. This wasn't about his feelings being hurt. This was about cult, toxic thread unraveling everything he stood for. His employees weren't just mistreating customers. They were judging them based on appearance and doing it while wearing his company's name on their uniforms. The next morning at 8 a.m. sharp, both cashiers received identical messages from their store manager. Mandatory meeting in the back office. 8:30. Do not be late. Confused, they arrived early, joking nervously about what it could be. A customer complaint, a schedule change. They weren't prepared for what was waiting behind the office door. Malik stood there, not in disguise but in his full suit, clean-cut, confident, unmistakably himself. Their jaws dropped. "You served me yesterday," he began, calm but firm. "Only you didn't know it was me," they stammered. One tried to speak, the other went pale. "I don't care that you didn't recognize me. I care that what I heard is probably what others have heard too." He told them what they said, and then he asked the one question that mattered. "Is that how you treat everyone who walks in?" The turning point. One cashier broke down in tears, overwhelmed by guilt. The other remained quiet, her eyes darting to the floor. Malik didn't yell, he didn't threaten, but he made one thing crystal clear. This restaurant doesn't exist without the people who walk through that door. You judged me because of how I looked. Imagine how many others you've dismissed without even knowing their story. He paused, letting it sink in. "I started this diner working the grill, washing dishes. I know what it's like to be underestimated. That's why MJ's Grill was built to be a place where everyone matters, especially those who feel invisible." He handed each of them a sealed envelope. They flinched, expecting termination papers. They opened them slowly, but instead the letters read, "You are being given a second chance. 1 month of mandatory diversity and empathy training. You will work every shift on the front line, directly engaging with customers from all walks of life. If you complete the program, you will keep your job with a renewed purpose." A lesson in leadership. Malik believed in accountability but also in redemption. Over the next 4 weeks, both cashiers underwent a crash course in human empathy. They volunteered at a local shelter with MJ's food donation partners. They sat in listening sessions with community members who had experienced racial and economic profiling, and they worked side by side with the same customers they used to mock, now forced to engage, listen, and serve. It wasn't easy, but something changed. By week 3, the laughter behind the counter turned to respectful conversation. By week 4, customers noticed the difference and some even left kind notes at the register. Malik returned quietly. One afternoon, he watched from a distance as one of the cashiers offered a free cookie to a homeless veteran who'd scraped together change for a small sandwich. "No worries," she said with a smile. "Everyone deserves a good meal." The follow-up. 6 months later, both employees were still working at MJ's Grill, but not as cashiers. One had been promoted to a training supervisor, helping onboard new hires with a focus on inclusive service. The other had taken up part-time classes in social work and helped Malik launch a community food outreach program through the restaurant chain. Final words. Malik never told customers about what happened. There was no press release, no viral video, because true change, he believed, didn't need cameras, it needed conviction. In a world quick to cancel, he chose to correct, and it all started with a sandwich and the courage to listen even when it hurt.